Okay, I think we are live. My name is Mark Monlux. I do a webcomic called The Comic Critic and another one called The Return of Stickman.
And my name is Pat McEwen. I do a comic called The Devil and Mr. Gandhi. You can catch that at devilandgandhi.com.
And my name's Crystal Rollins. I do the webcomic Aspect, Skyborn, and currently I'm working on the prologue for Ersatz, a new title I'm releasing this year.
Fun.
Currently I'm trying to make tile floor in Illustrator mesh up to a shape in Photoshop. It's super fun.
I'm working on a... By the way, can anyone see me?
I see your screen share now.
Okay, that's perfect. Yeah, this is actually a video scribe project that I have with a client, and I'm way behind on it, so I'm just now starting to do the vector art. So I thought I would work on that tonight.
Cool.
And the way it works is Video Scribe will remember in the exact order you draw your lines, and it will emulate that in some whiteboard software. The problem is if you try to go back and change things, it'll totally screw things up. So you have to do things right the first time through. Isn't that a joy?
Fun, fun, fun.
What are you working on there, Patrick?
I'm working on a faux logo for an imaginary government agency for an upcoming comic project I'm working on.
Oops. Yes. Where's that?
So my wife showed me a picture of a new breed of cat. It is the most expensive breed of cat. They go for about $22,000 each.
Wow.
Whoa. Is it a gold-plated cat of infinite adorableness?
Well, it's one of those new breeds. It's similar to a Bengal. And have you heard of Savannas?
I have not.
Well, a Savannah is sort of like a really big version of a Bengal. Imagine something the size or larger than a whippet. I mean, it's just a big, long, lanky cat, but it looks like a Bengal. This one is even larger than that. If you could imagine a cat putting its front paws on a dining room table and standing up to look on the dining room table and easily having its shoulders and head come up over the top of the table, it's just freaky big.
So it's like the Saint Bernard of house cats.
Oh my God, yes.
Wow. Oh, why isn't this working?
And I had to tell my wife no. So,
I'm sure she liked that.
well, I don't mind having a Bengal, and we've talked about getting a Savannah, but even a Savannah would be an absolutely huge cat.
Yeah, I'm one of those people that part of why I have house cats is because they're so small and, easy to take care of. The idea of then getting even bigger house cats, that just seems counterintuitive for me.
Yeah, and I'm trying to remind her that the cats we've had have always been on the small side. Even our Bengal was on the small side. And I like small cat. And the thought of...
Oh gosh, we have a cat chorus going on behind me now.
I was about to say, were they jealous of the conversation?
No, it's like an hour or two past their dinner time, and I had gotten kind of engaged in drawing stuff, and my friend's living with us right now, and she does me the huge favor of making dinner on Tuesday nights when I do comic work. And since I got invited into this hangout, she offered to feed the cats too. And anytime it's dinner time, they start up this like synchronized crying that's half adorable and half like heart-wrenching, sadly cute. Ugh. I'm biased, but my cats are so adorable. They also will trip you with like homicidal intensity.
Huh? The miners have been fed.
Yeah, if they come over here and aren't crying for food, I might switch back to live cam so everybody can see the adorableness. They're just little mutt cats. They're rescues, but they're brother and sister, so they're sweethearts, and they actually get along, which is better than our last two cats, who acted like they wanted to actively murder each other every day. That's pretty good.
So, Crystal, did you take a look at Stowe's Kickstarter?
I don't think so. What's it called?
Oh, he's doing a book for Sidekick Quest, and it's got different types of plugins for the gaming modules and on PDF files and stuff.
Cool. Sidekick Quest Secret of the Sewer Wizard? Is that the one?
That is the one.
That looks cool. Yeah, I'm gonna bookmark that. I'll check it out later. I know a ton of people who are board gamers and D&D fans and German board game players and Magic and all of the like, so I'm sure I know a bunch of people I can show that to. Let's see.
Ah, nuts. I think
Do your lines in the wrong order?
I did my image in the wrong sequence. I'm drawing this castle on a foundation, but I pulled up scene 18 rather than scene 1, and it's supposed to be in scene 1. So I'm wondering if I went ahead and finished drawing it, whether or not I could copy and paste it and the lines would redraw themselves in the same sequence. So I'm going to try that and see if that works. Otherwise, I might have to just call this a learning experience and start over from scratch. But hey, I've got what, a grand total of 15 minutes invested. So.
Hey, Crystal,
Yeah.
what's the name of your comic again? And could you put like a link in the chat box?
So this one hasn't gone live on the web yet.
Oh.
Right now I've got page 7 and 8. I just finished line art on 1. M finished the pencils for 2 and 3. We're hoping to launch on the web when we've got the entire prologue ready.
Awesome.
So for now we've been kind of just hinting about it for a while. It's been just called Project Relic for like the past half year while we've been working out all the details. We
Cool.
actually just only had the final title for the project as of about a week ago. So unfortunately I don't have a link for it yet, but all the rest of our stories would be through waywardstudios.net.
Cool.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, it's been interesting because this is the first 100% collaborative project I've worked on with M. We've done a lot of projects where each of us was working on a comic individually and we helped each other out, did story editing or flats for one another. I actually did a little bit of her line art on a redo of one of her old comics because she was just crunched for time and she couldn't get all the pages relined in time for the print deadline. So that was interesting because I never thought I could do line art for her projects before then because she has a much more simple cartoony art style than I have. So it was interesting kind of training myself not to overdo it with her projects. And I don't know, it's been kind of this gradual shift, but it's working out really well on this project. I'm actually harassing her in text in the other window because she hasn't uploaded page 2 yet, so like, I want page 2! Have time, need more line art. Gimme.
And is Skyborn done with, or is that continuing? That was a big sigh.
I'd like to continue it.
That was a rather big sigh.
Skyborn is a learning experience. I still want to finish it eventually. I kind of bit off more than I could chew with that project.
Sure.
And not knowing it, like I bit off in places that I didn't think I was biting off. Like I didn't think it would make things as hard as it did to use pencil line art, and I didn't think taking the jump from a black and white project to a color project would be that much of a jump. And I didn't think doing a fantasy story versus an alternate modern day story would be a big jump. And I tried too many new things at once.
Sure.
For a project that I knew the second I hit pen on paper, I knew it was going to be at least 3 books to justify the story I had in mind. I
only bring it up because I'm finding you on Twitter and just randomly following links on your
oh,
your
my whole
pages and
50
whatnot.
tweets ever? I'm terrible at keeping up on Twitter. I'm really terrible. I'm not one of those people that's like, ooh, a muffin at a cupcake store. I should take a picture and send a tweet. Oop, look, I did it. Oh my god, I just found a penny on the road. Tweet! Wow, I sound like...
mocking me.
No, I'm mocking all of the internet. You are not special, Mark. I just... I'm a homebody, and that's the hardest thing actually about working on comics is not the working on the comics part, it's the talking about the working on the comics part. Like, I'm the kid that, like, spent 3/4 of my childhood wanting to kill myself because other kids, like, disliked me and picked on me so much. Like, socializing with other human beings is an anxiety-ridden activity for me. And so, like, the idea of, like, posting little messages all day about what I'm doing and for other people to comment on is like, ah! I just want to hide in a hole instead of telling somebody what I had for lunch. I have no interest in doing that, but, like...
And you are aware that this gets posted to YouTube, right?
I don't think I've said any kind of curse words yet.
No,
And
I
yeah,
just...
and see, that's the weird thing is if I'm just, like, extolling in a video, I don't feel the same self-consciousness.
Sure.
Because I have done Hangouts on the air before. Actually, I vaguely recall I might have been the one that showed Mark about this feature first back on 24-Hour Comic Day a couple years ago. Because I remember we were trying to get it set up at the time, and it was one of my first, like, it was only like my second or third time I've done a Hangout on the air. I know, that is weird, that I can talk endlessly on a channel. Like, the only thing I've got a concern of right now is that I wasn't expecting to do this tonight, so my face is, of course, like, all broken out today. Luckily, you have this nice cropped-in view, so you can't see the horrible state of the utility room that my computer's in right now, because this whole chunk of our house has been under renovation for the past 2 months, because we got a massive water leak in my husband's computer room right next to me.
Oh no.
So, like, that whole room got torn out and revised, and these weren't here a month ago. It was just this gaping hole into our heater and laundry room where this house, half of it was built in the 40s and the other half was built in the 70s, and they got, like, stitched together like a Frankenstein monster.
Wow.
So this house has all sorts of weirdness. Yeah, I don't have an issue about talking about random things. What I seem to have an issue with is finding value in the, like, boring stuff about my life. So I can't think of anything that seems worthwhile for, like, a tweet. But, like, I, at the same time, have this desire to tell stories, which, trust me, I've tried to stop, but it only makes things worse if I don't work on these things.
Well, I can kind of sympathize because I've had discussions with other comics creators, and you know, there's so many kind of, like, autobio, angsty, like, oh, let me tell you about what I did all through middle school comics, and I'm like, I can't do those. I just can't. And, like, that's, like, a
Same here.
huge portion of indie comics is, like, people, like, competing with each other for, like, I had a worse childhood, and you know, for me it's just like, no, I just like telling funny stories and trying to make jokes. So it's I still can't wrap my head around, like, I don't think I will ever do a kind of, like, autobiographical memoir comic, not in a traditional sense.
Yeah, I feel your pain. I'm working on one on the side right now, actually, and it came about because Square City Comics, that M is part of, does an anthology every year based on a theme, and this year's theme was this list of, like, obscure words they found in a variety of different languages that, like, only have a clear definition in that language.
Oh yeah.
And around the same time, I learned something about my parents that I didn't previously know that I found really interesting and kind of nagged at me. And it's just this little 7 or 8 page comic, but I've been, like, going over and over and over the initial thumbnail and storyline because it's really, I want to tell it, it's interesting, but I feel this, like, clenching sort of hesitance to really bring it to light, even though it's not really it's nothing like embarrassing. It's actually just kind of an odd, sort of nostalgic story. But that's the first story I'll have put in comic form that wasn't just like a little 3-panel low, oh, herdy-der, I fell down in the snow on the way to class kind of story.
Right.
Like, this is actually legitimately like a little tiny facet of my life. And while I feel a desire to like tell it because it seemed interesting, there's a weird, it's almost like I have to either get it perfect or burn it in a fire. And there's no in between in my head. And like all the fantasy stories, it's all about like, oh, I want to talk about social justice, and I want to have people throwing fireballs, and I want to have vistas that are made up of crystal and clouds and people walking on the ocean and communing with fish. Just like the random stuff, like all this cool out there stuff. And then autobiographical stuff, that's hard. Like, even the most slice of life kind of stuff I make, even like modern day characters, has some kind of fantastical or out there element to it, or I just don't have fun writing it.
Oh, I hear you.
Though I don't have too much trouble drawing it. I've actually, the one time I did artwork for somebody else's story for an anthology last year, it's a sci-fi story, but aside from a few panels, it's basically all taking place in an apartment. So it's all like just people looking like people. And I, like...
You have issue
I can draw that just fine.
people?
Huh?
You take issue with people looking like people?
No, I'm explaining that I have an easy time drawing people looking like people. Like, I don't have any problem drawing people looking like they could just sit around in a modern day coffee shop. But when I try and write that, I have trouble making it feel interesting. That's what I was trying to get at.
Back before I settled on drawing the comic critic, I was exploring with the idea of doing other types of cartoons. And I was kind of going, well, maybe I should do a whole autobiographical thing. But apparently mine would be a lot less angsty because I think I would have gone more like the Ellen Forney route because I really like hers, where it's more like funny humor, weird stuff that happened to you.
Yeah.
And I've got, big family and lots of weird stuff was happening. So my sketchbook is filled with all these page experiments that I was doing of, just one page or 3-page stories. Let's see, there was this anthology called Slam Bang. I think they're still putting stuff out. And they were asking for submissions. And I had done a couple different, short page stories for them, and thought, well, I'll do the most embarrassing story I could possibly think of. And that way I'll find out whether or not I'd be comfortable with more embarrassing stories. And so I wrote this story about this comic on how when I was working at Fred Meyer's, one of my jobs cleaning up the parking lot and all the weird stuff I would find in the parking lot.
Oh, I worked at a grocery store. Ooh.
And one time there was this trunk. You have to be careful of trunks because the last time I opened up a trunk, it had a dead cat in it that people had been running over all day because they thought it was an empty suitcase.
Oh.
And so I opened up this, and this was a big trunk, and I opened it up, and inside, piled to the brim, was, on the scale of nasty, I would say a solid 8 of porn. I mean, stuff it was just, and here I was, this teenage adolescent kid, and I'm kind of looking at this going, Oh my god! And it took me nearly 2 weeks to get all that porn home. Because I was taking the bus, and I had to put it underneath my jacket. And I had to hide it underneath the bed. I, oh my gosh. So before I went to Japan, I spent an entire day burning all the porn I had in the fireplace. And it took that long because I didn't want my mom to find all this. So
I guess at least you had forethought.
This has already become the best Epic Sketch Time episode ever.
Ah,
So if you ever find that, yeah, search out Slam Bang, and in one of those episodes I draw about my epic
illicit porn collection.
Yes, I can't even remember what I called that story. Hang on, I'm going to take a quick look on the shelf here, see if I can find any of my slams. Here's one, but I don't think this has.
If you didn't call it a hunk of burning love, then you failed.
No, I come up with the worst, absolute worst titles for things.
Worst like pun-tastic, or worst like just not great?
No, just abysmally bad.
Aw.
I'm flipping through this.
Page 2. Let's see. Crank that up. I want some white space.
No, this Slam Bang only has the Return of Stickman in it. That's not what I want.
I'm gonna go grab dinner, and I will be right back.
Yeah, couldn't find it. Slam Bang, by the way, is put out by Fan-Attic Press, like Fanatic. But apparently Fanatic was taken by somebody, so they put a dash in it. So this last weekend I went to the Lilac City Comic Con, which is
Back.
held in Spokane. I've been doing that for the last 5 years.
I vaguely recall somebody mentioning that one when I went to Spokane 2 years ago.
Now Spokane is a 3-day one, right?
Yeah, and I think it might have been brand new the year I went. It would have been, yeah, I think it was like September 2014.
Now, how did you like that?
It was not bad. It was pretty far away for me to go from here, and especially considering I had to get a hotel for 2 nights. It was not profitable. I think I just barely beat the table price with my sales, which I know my sales aren't normal. I'm still pretty unknown, and I'm not the best salesman. And I'm trying to sell more serious long form comics, which is not necessarily the easiest to sell at conventions if you're not already well known for it. And it seemed like a lot of it was like them trying to sell celebrities. So I kind of decided after doing that one, wasn't that interested in doing it again. But it's not the worst convention experience I've had. I'd say about a 6 out of 10.
I just break even at the Lilac convention.
Oh, I'm surprised. It always seems like you do so much better sales.
Yeah, it's a 1-day show, but, and I even cut my cost by going over with somebody. So I'm splitting travel expenses. And
What was the cost on one day at Lilac?
let's see, it's $60 for a table. My whole travel expenses and everything was $84, and that's with food. But then again, I was eating fast food for the most part, and stocking up at the hotel with their breakfast, which was actually, bacon and eggs. Can't complain about that. It's better than the Little Debbie's continental breakfast I've had at other locations.
Yeah, I think the place that I was eating breakfast at when I went, I think had like Danishes, basically. Like Danishes and coffee. That's what almost every place I've had continental breakfast called out. It basically ends up being like cold pastries and coffee and, if you're lucky, orange juice. And maybe like cereal that runs out after like 5 minutes of people having at the continental breakfast bar.
Meanwhile, Matt Youngmark, who does Choozomatic Books, and was the fellow who went with me, he netted $500.
Yeah, at Spokane, I actually talked to him there, and he did a lot better than I did there, too. Also, he got a cheaper table price. So one of the things that bugged me a little bit at Spokane was that they were basically, like, emailing people and, like, giving them super cheap table deals to fill out tables at the last minute. So he sold a lot better than I did. And also he had a cheaper table. So overall, he did much better at that one. Where are my guides? Where are my guides? Oh, what? I should probably switch back to screen share if I'm going to be growling at my programs so people know what I'm cussing about at least. That's what I want. Okay. Why is it doing this?
So who has watched any movies, either on line or at the theater?
Zootopia was the last one I watched in the theater. I've been watching a lot more TV shows lately than movies. My friend Ricky and I have been working through Warehouse 13.
My wife and I enjoyed that show when it was on.
I seem to be late to the game on any good show. I feel like I catch a lot of shows like after they've just gone off the air. But yeah, that one. What was the one I watched over that? We watched Kill la Kill, which was really
fun.
good.
Yeah.
Oh, that was such a good show.
My wife and I watch a ton of anime. I mean, just huge amounts. She's got a subscription to Crunchyroll.
I've thought about it. I had a subscription a couple years ago. Ironically, for K-dramas and not actually for the anime. I was watching Queen's Yondak for a while there before I just got tired of the soap opera-ness of it.
My wife loves K-dramas. And we started off with Jewel in the Palace, which is sort of like a historical drama.
Oh, cool.
About this girl who becomes a cook for the emperor. And back then, cooking was the equivalent of a health prescription, so they were working with physicians. And it's actually, it's wonderful. It was an absolutely wonderful series.
It was like a health prescription, you're saying?
Well, yeah, it's sort of like, oh, the king's not looking good. Well, let's make sure that he gets his vitamins.
Oh, kind of like the medieval humors where they're like, oh, you're looking pale, you need to eat some red meat, or you're looking yellow, you need to have some greens and liver.
Take that and square it, because, oh my God, they didn't do any type of invasive surgery. It was either old food or acupuncture. So.
Oh, that sounds interesting just from like a historical perspective even.
Yeah. But I actually have a huge list of all the anime that we've watched. Had to keep track of it.
That sounds like a cool list to keep, and just like check back on it every few years and be like, wow, look at how many things we've watched.
Oh, hundreds. Literally hundreds. If you haven't had a chance to watch it, watch Fooly Cooly.
Oh, yes. Okay. I think I've watched Fooly Cooly about, at least 4 times through. We own that one. We love that series. Me and my husband, bonded over that series back when we weren't married. We were, still dating. And that was one that we rewatched at least every 6 months. It helps that we were both working at my family's anime shop, off and on, so, if he didn't like anime, I don't think he would have ever been part of my family. He would have either just left me, or I would have not married him, or it just would not have worked out, I can tell you that much. He's actually the one, I wasn't going to watch Seven Deadly Sins because when it first hit Netflix, for a couple days there, it had a horrible star rating for some reason. It was 2 out of 5. And he watched it and said it was good. And then my friend Ricky watched it, or she didn't watch it, she read the manga and also said it was really good. And I gave it another chance, and that's one of my favorite animes of the past couple of years. That and Kill la Kill are just exceptional.
August 28th!
Yeah, hopefully it'll come out in the U.S. on August 28th, too. Season 2 got announced.
I'm also taken with Seven Deadly Sins. My wife enjoys watching it, but, I let her watch that by herself. I can take it or leave it.
I can tell you, the first third or so of the TV series is kind of it really takes some time to get woven in there. And if you can make it to the first half of the season, the second half just blows it out of the water. It just launches in from there. Why isn't this sized right? You should not be showing. What is going on?
What my wife and I like are the animes that you have, like Fooly Cooly, where you absolutely have no freaking idea what's going on.
No wonder you liked Kill la Kill. Like, watching Kill la Kill, I was like, oh my god, this is all the best stuff of Fooly Cooly, but with a mostly female cast. Yes! Like, as a girl, I watched Kill la Kill, and I'm like, this is like Fooly Cooly for girls. This is great.
So it took a while to get used to the thong jumpsuits that were just,
Yeah, I watched the first episode, and my jaw was just kind of like on the ground after the first episode. I was like, what did I just watch? But the animation was so good, and the pacing was just amazing. I'm like, I don't care if it's weirdly sexist and completely out there. I have to watch some more of whatever this was. Why is this not sized right? What the heck is going on? That looks good. That looks good. 100, 100. Okay. Why is that showing? That should not be showing.
So the movie I was watching, I watch a movie during my lunch hour, and I usually watch about 1/3 of a movie, and then have to get back to work. What with deadlines and things. And today I finished up a Jamie Stewart, Marlene Dietrich in Destry Rides Again.
Destry Rides Again?
Yes, that's what I said. Destry Rides Again. It's a cowboy film. It is the cowboy film. The one that kind of set the tone for the German barmaid who sings for the cowboys and the lawman with the soft touch.
So everything Blazing Saddles make fun of?
Yeah, Blazing Saddles parodied quite a bit of it.
How long has Stowe been here?
I just snuck in.
You did. You're sneaky.
Stowe, tell us about the podcast you were on and when we can expect to hear it.
You know, I'm not sure when it's coming out, but they interviewed me. It was really good. The guys who do, they do several podcasts, actually. So I'm not exactly sure which one of the ones that they do I'm actually going to be on. But they're going to let me know once everything is up and ready to go. It was a lot of fun. Drove up to Tukwila, of all places.
It is an odd place for a podcast. We don't have all that much, like, software and high-tech stuff in Tukwila. Mostly industrial.
Oh, Pat, I got your package in the mail today. It's awesome. Thank you so much.
Definitely. You got the kind of semi-super secret button.
I got the what?
The semi-super secret button, the Devil for President button.
Yeah, it was awesome. I can't wait to put it on the Fez.
That's not available for sale yet, so
Ooh.
very, very exclusive.
Yeah, no, that was awesome. That made my day today.
I'm surprised it got to you that quickly.
Oh, really?
Did you use a 9-digit zip?
I don't know.
I don't believe so.
Mark, for me, it's 5 digits or nothing at all, you know?
That's right.
Do you not know the joys of the
Because
9
we're
digits?
Americans.
Shall I expound on the virtues of the 9-digit set?
This is epic sketch time, not epic mail time.
Oh, you clearly never met Mark before.
Well, Mark was making an epic porn time earlier tonight.
What?
Yes.
Did I hear the word I thought I heard?
Yep.
What? Man, I have gone like one time.
Let's see. Spiral staircase, where is my reference picture?
So wait, no one's going to explain that one? They're just going to let...
I think we were all leaving it open for Mark to explain himself.
I see no reason why Stowe can't go back and watch the video.
Yep, it is now on the internet forever.
That's something I want to nag you about, Stowe. You never post your videos into the community for other people to watch. The only
Well,
video.
it's true. I mean, look at this. Go to,
Oh, dang it.
I post them on Twitter. But you're right, I should post them in that community.
Where did you go? Where did you go?
It would actually encourage more people in the community to actually.
Participate?
Oh, shoot.
Yes, because you are obviously a very big draw. Because every time it's just me and Bill on there, we get nada. Yes.
Oh, yeah. I would listen to you and Bill talk. I listen to you and Bill talk all the time. So, how did you like Lilac CityCon, Mark?
Didn't you read the report I sent out?
I did, but I'm asking how you liked it, not how well you did financially, how you enjoyed the convention.
I enjoyed the convention, though I did find it
Loud?
oh my God, loud. Yes, that band. I was like 2 tables away from the band. I hate it.
You were not the only person I heard say that. I was very lucky as I was very, very far away from the band.
I was extremely grateful when the panels started up, and they, I liked the music from the band, but oh my God, turn it down. I mean, I had at least half a dozen people tell me, "What? I can't hear you. What are you saying? What's your pitch? What? What are you selling? What?" And it was infuriating.
That's a bummer.
Infuriating, I say. In case Nathan's listening. The wonderful guy who puts on Lilac.
It was the first time I had been there. I really enjoyed the show. And taking the whole family was a lot of fun, although not great for profits.
Oh, did they buy things?
Oh yes, they bought many of things. And I had to feed them all.
Wouldn't you have to feed them all at home?
No.
What do you mean, though? They survive on air at home?
Do you not remember where I live?
Oh, that's right. You guys just go down to the cafeteria.
That's right. I don't have expenses. I don't know what those are. And I have now alienated everyone.
Eh.
Now, yeah, I was going
I
to
mean, I'm
ask.
assuming you're a professor or a teacher, and that means you have other problems right now these days.
Now, Stowe's wonderful significant other is the house mother at Annie Wright.
At a private boarding school. So we all live inside the school.
Practically inside the attic of the school.
We have an apartment. It's not like I'm Quasimodo or anything.
You are. You have
That's right.
flights of stairs,
Balls!
and you have commented to me that you don't like having to come down and walk people up because it means climbing up those stairs.
Well, it is 4 flights of stairs. Yeah, that's a lot. I'm overweight. I mean, I'm obese for Pete's sake. 4 flights of stairs, multiple times a day.
Just think of how much more obese you'd be if you didn't have those stairs.
That's true. Very true. It's keeping me at a steady roundness.
How do your kids never complain about the stairs, do they?
Oh yeah, everybody complains about the stairs because they're bad. I don't care how good people have it; they'll find something to complain about. It's human nature, he says. So what is everybody working on today?
I'm working on a whiteboard video that's being done in VideoScribe, and it's going to take me way longer than I estimated it for.
Because you're using the pen tool.
And I knew I was underestimating the time when I did the bid.
That is a gorgeous spiral staircase.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Can you guys actually see what I'm working on?
Can we see or have we seen?
Can you see? Because I'm looking at my screen right now, and I cannot see what I'm working on.
I could see what you were working on a couple minutes ago, but now I just see your share your screen.
Yeah, that's
screen.
what
Yeah, that's all I'm seeing is like
Weird.
half of a screen share box.
Okay, how about now?
Oh, I see
Now you're
a
back.
page now.
And now I'm back. So every time I look, no one can see anything.
You can either see or be seen, but not both at the
That's
same
right.
time.
I am a quantum particle.
So I started working on my Jean-Luc Picard painting for Jean-Luc Picard Day.
Nice. How's it coming?
Oh, it's been too long since I've tried to paint a face.
That good, huh?
Yeah, it's a quote drying unquote in the other room, and
Yeah, I really need to get working on mine.
Wow. I love the landscapes on that page, by the way.
Oh, thanks. This one right here. Yeah, that's
Both of
one I
them.
get-
I like
that's
the
one
little
I'm much
jaunty
really-
castle too.
so those of you who live in the Pacific Northwest and are watching this, the Claw, the Cartoonist League of Absurd Washingtonians, is sponsoring a pop-up art show at Destiny City Comics in Tacoma, and the theme of the art show is Jean-Luc Picard Day. So any artwork that is Jean-Luc Picard related is welcome, and for $5 you can get it mounted up on the wall, and if you want to sell it, You can make a deal with the store and going to go up there for Art Walk and then stay up for a while. I think that's the plan.
I believe that is the plan, yeah.
Come on.
Hey, folks, I'm going to call it a night. I'm kind of tired, and it's 11:30 here on the East Coast. So, Crystal, very nice meeting you. Hope to see you again at another Epic Sketch Time. And,
I hope to be back.
Awesome. And Jim and Mark, well, you can both just go to hell. I mean, I'll see you next week.
Nice.
Talk to you. Bye.
Night.
Bye-bye. So, Crystal, are you completely new to Epic Sketch Time?
To Epic Sketch Time, yeah, I've met Mark before.
Okay.
I
What do you
kept getting invites, and this is the same night that me and Em usually work on comic projects, so my work has been, my day job has just been ridiculous the past half year. And it's only within the past couple of weeks that I've really gotten a breather that I had more than 1 week a night that I could actually not expect to have overtime.
Oh, wow.
So that's the difference.
Well, I'm glad you joined us.
Well, thank you. It's been really nice. I honestly wasn't sure how it would go, but it's been really good.
Mark is a good host.
Now you're just buttering me up.
I am, because I sprung this on you at the last minute. But in my defense, they pushed back the recording time on me at the last minute.
They did.
Yep, we were supposed to meet earlier, and then they asked if they could push it back to 6. And I knew that going all the way up to SeaTac, basically during rush hour, and then heading back here, there was no way I was going to be able to get back in time to start the podcast. But my Kickstarter thanks you.
Oof. Too many steps.
So what do you work on, Crystal?
Like, what am I working on right now?
That's right. What are you working on right now?
I am working on page number 2 of the prologue for Erzat's Remnants of Forgotten Magic,
Oh,
which is the full title of the project that me and Emily will be releasing in the next month or two.
oh, great.
We won't have the entire project done at that point, but we'll have the prologue done, and so we're going to launch the website with the full prologue ready to publish within like a week or two of going up, so that people have a nice chunk of the story to read when it goes live.
That's
We're
great.
really, we've got a kind of ambitious goal to have the book done before SPX next year, which would be fall 2017. And right now we're kind of in that stage where we've got a ton of concepting done. We've got about half the story written, all of the story outlined in detail, and the whole prologue thumbnailed. So there's a lot of work ahead, but we're kind of trying to not think too hard about the amount of work left to do, or we might just collapse inward like a black hole from despair. Yeah, I actually have page 7 and 8 done because there's an art show over in Maryland that Emily got invited to. That's for sequential art and comic book art, and they specifically was like stuff inspired by comics. So we're putting together like a display of a bunch of the concept art and making of work for this.
Oh, cool.
And we picked the 2 pages we thought would be most visually interesting out of the prologue and did those first as partially a demo to make sure that like we could really mesh together and the color palette and the inking and shading style would work out, and also as like just to get 2 out there so we could get those printed for this art show.
Do you have any of that to show?
Yeah, I'm looking it up right now. That's part of why I kicked out of screen shares. I'm in the other screen looking at my file folders. So that's actually the downside of screen share for me is like, at one point Google Hangouts had it so you could show both screens, but they don't have that anymore. So I can only show one screen at a time. So right now, this screen has, this is my actual art monitor that I'm drawing on, and then my other monitor has all of the concept art and all of my reference stuff.
Oh,
splashed
gotcha.
up. And the screen where I'm watching the Hangouts on the other screen.
Oh, that is fantastic.
Thank you. Yeah, this is the very first page we did, because
It's really beautiful.
Thank you. We had a lot of fun with this one, because of, this is like the big reveal where you first see the artifact that's sort of the central focus of the entire story. And so we had a lot of fun with the layout and
Yeah, there's a
letting
lot
the
of
artifact
great
kind of
movement
be.
in there.
Hmm?
A lot of great movement in there. It's really just fantastic.
Thank you. And then we had enough time, so we went in and did page 7, which is this is the one then leading up to page 8.
Mm-hmm.
So it's me and Emily did the writing together. She does the pencils, I do the line art. She does the flats, and I do shading, and she does lettering.
Huh.
Except for special effects, I often do the sound effects. Because I just like freehand those out a lot of the
How do
time.
you like working that way?
How do I like it, or how do we do it?
No, how do you like it?
It's great. We've been we've been doing this for like 4 or 5 years. Honestly, I probably wouldn't be working on comics as readily as I do if it wasn't for my friend Emily. And a lot of this came about because she, it's funny, she had a weird-ass dream and wrote up this really cheesy little romance story. It was like 2 pages. And like almost every other paragraph started with like, I know this is really cheesy, but this happens. And after I read through this, I'm like, this is really good. Stop saying it's cheesy. It's really good. And it's funny to look back at that because this story was based off of a really cheesy romance short story, and now there's almost no romance involved whatsoever, and it's become this like young adult fantasy adventure story that's got like characters that fight with each other and crazy relics and weird gizmos and a bunch of crazy magic theory going on in the subtext, and like a bunch of kingdoms that are like in a cold war with each other and different cultures clashing, and like all of this complexity that has nothing to do with the original story that has come out of me rewriting her story a bunch of times and then her telling me no on a bunch of stuff I tried to change, and then me convincing her they were a good idea, and then her convincing me back which ones were and weren't good ideas. Like, it's sort of a sign of our friendship and how well we work together that this project has gotten as far as it has, considering she lives in Maryland and I live in Seattle.
Oh, yeah. So, yeah, that alone is a challenge.
Yeah.
So what have you guys collaborated on that I may have seen or read?
honestly,
that you could point me to so I can see them.
Oh, go to waywardstudios.net and you can read almost
Okay.
all of our stories for free online. We've
Okay.
only just recently actually had a couple that you can't read for free online. I finally finished Tokoloche, which is the story I wrote for the 24-hour comic back in 2014 that Mark was at. I finally got around to finishing the line art and getting that one publishable this year. It sat around for like 2 years while I was kind of going through a mental breakdown, and then I finally got in gear and got that one out. So that one's a print-only mini-comic.
Hmm.
And then she's got one Chosen that she wrote recently. And I'm trying to think of which other one that she has that's print-only. But if you go to the website, you can read Aspect, that's a full volume manga-style black and white comic.
Okay.
About a bunch of teenagers with superpowers trying to figure out why other kids like them are going missing, set in alternate modern-day Seattle.
And I really like that one.
I like it. The reason I stopped doing it wasn't that I didn't like it, but that I'd grown so much in the 3 years it took me to produce the first volume that by the time I finished it, I didn't like the ideas I originally had written down for where to go with that one. And I was working on Skyborn in the background. I kept telling myself, okay, Skyborn's going to be a prose novel. I'm not going to do this as a comic. I don't have time for 2 comics. And then it kept eating at my brain and eating and eating and eating at it for like 8 months. And I couldn't, it just wasn't working as a prose novel. Like, it had visuals in it that I couldn't really make work in prose. So I was finally like, fine, I'll do both these comics. I'll do 1 page from each one a week. And then Skyborn just ate up so much of my time. I wasn't able to keep both of them updating, so then I put Aspect on hiatus, and then I wasn't able to keep Skyborn going fast enough, and then I really didn't do comics at all for a couple of years. In part due to confidence issues, and in part due to some of my own personal issues. My grandfather actually died about half a year after I published Aspect, and that really made a lot of normal day-to-day stuff much harder to do. And I mean, this isn't my day job. This is just what I do when I have time and energy. So when I could barely deal with my day job and have enough energy to do that, at some point I basically just I couldn't make time for any of my comics.
Sure.
It just didn't work. Blah. So yeah, and none of my comics have ever been published by like Dark Horse or Image or anybody like that.
Oh, that's all right.
You can get my comics in a couple of places around town, though. Arcane Comics, Phoenix Comics, and Xanadu are all carrying them now.
Oh, great.
But that's because we basically been going around to shops saying, hey, we've got some new titles, and, you know, this is us, and we're local. Would you like to stock some of our comics? And, you know, a couple of them said yes.
Cool.
Speaking of, there's a new comic book store in Tacoma
Oh, cool.
on 6th Avenue. I'm trying to remember the name.
Isn't it like Stargazer or something?
Yeah, Stargazer. That sounds about right.
I only know that because you sent me an email about it very recently. I haven't had a chance to check it out yet.
I did hear back from them.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they're interested in hearing from local artists and would like to stock them and stuff.
Oh great.
So I think they're open to the idea, but every store says that, and then when you say, okay, yeah, we have to get 5, buy them outright, they're kind of going, we want to do a commission, and God, I just don't want to do a commission anymore.
Oh, thank you. Somebody else said it. I'm so tired of the commissions. The consignment is BS a lot of the time. I'm especially getting tired of the we're not actually responsible for giving you your merchandise back. You have to harass us for 6 months in hopes of getting money or merchandise. A couple of the stores that I was just saying, like, they are consignment, and I was really clear this time, like, I want a receipt, I want an invoice if you're gonna do this. Like, this is not free merchandise. I don't just pull it out of my butt in hopes and dreams. Like, I paid for the prints. If you don't sell them, I want them back.
Oh, excuse me again. Sorry. Now the hiccups. The Skyborn stuff is really nice.
Thank you.
I like what you do with color.
Thanks. I put a lot of thought into it. I like to think about what the lighting really is in the situation that I'm coloring. Like, nothing really frustrates me more than when a comic, like, everything looks like it's in, like, a photo studio when the characters are standing around.
Mm-hmm.
This perfect, pristine lighting that's all, like, white and blah. And, like, the colors never change from scene to scene. Like, they're in a roaring fire, and you can still see all the colors of their outfits.
Yeah.
And they're, like, in space, and they still look like they're at a photo shoot. Like, you can see every core shadow, every reflection of light, everything. Yeah, color, it's really important to me. And I feel like so many mainstream color artists, they just, either they're not being allowed to have enough freedom to do it, or they're not utilizing the ability color has in comics to really convey mood and ambiance. Like, it's amazing what just like a little twinge of color, a little splash in a certain area, a little bit thrown over a panel can really do to convey, like, this person's holding a torch, or they're in an underground grotto, or they're out in bright, bright sunlight, in a desert, under a blue sky, under rainy skies.
Totally agree. I really try to use color to define locations quite a bit.
Well, folks, I'm the one podcasting this, or rather recording it, but I'm going to have to say goodnight.
Well, I think if you say goodnight, we all
Say, you kicking us out?
Well, what I'm saying is, I happen to know from experience that if I stop the broadcast, you guys actually still are in the hangout. So you guys are working if you so desire.
Every time I've tried to do that, I stop the podcast.
Well, but you're going to be on the receiving end this time, so.
That's right. All right.
Thank
you very much, Mark, for starting it this week. And it was great to meet you. Let me double check, Crystal. I didn't want to call you the wrong name.
Yes, it's Crystal. And your Stowe, because it's showing as James on the Hangout.
Yeah, James is fine. I respond to either.
Cool.
A lot of people know me just by my last name.
I wonder, do you go to the Claw meetings?
I do.
I think I met you at a couple, because I did go to them about 2 or 3 times in a row.
Hey,
I ended up...
I gotta go. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.
All right, night, Mark.